Search and rescue operations in Türkiye have given way to relief and recovery efforts, and South Korea has pledged to play a pivotal part in supporting Türkiye to rebuild itself. So what is the extent of the devastation in Türkiye? What are some of the more urgent tasks to be tackled? What have been South Korea's humanitarian efforts? Welcome to Issues and Insiders. Just a fortnight after an earthquake killed over 46,000 people in Turkey and Syria, a fresh tremor measuring above 6 on the Richter scale has yet again rocked the southern region. For more on the situation there, I have Susan Malandrino at the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies live on the line. Susan, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Sunny. Thank you for having me.
Right, Susan, let's start then with a few words about the impact of the latest quake, which I understand has led to many injuries as well as a few fatalities, that is. Please tell us more.
It has. We felt the quake last night here in Gaziantep. We evacuated our offices and went out to safety outside. We could really feel it, the floor rolling. It's just created more uncertainty for the people of Turkey. They have gone through so much already, and they're ready to really kind of crave some normalcy and find out what the next steps in their lives look like. And an earthquake like last night just really sets us back again and provides some additional challenges.
Right, unfortunately, of course. And staying with that, Susan, what can you share with us about the scale of the actual devastation there, as well as the challenges faced by the survivors?
The devastation is immense. I went out in the field yesterday with some colleagues, and just block after block after block is decimated. And it's really hard to wrap your mind around. You can see the pictures, but being there, it is just unbelievable, the absolute scale of devastation. It is massive.
And that being said, Susan, what are some of the most urgent necessities there in Turkey as we speak?
Sonny, thanks for asking. The needs are big. The needs are immense, and they're just the immediate needs. So people need to be fed. People need medical care. Those are two things that the Turkish Red Crescent and Red Cross and Red Crescent societies from around the world are helping out with. Just thus far, you mentioned it's been a fortnight since the first quake. The Turkish Red Crescent has fed 48 million people. So the needs are big. The needs are immense, and just really, really important at this moment.
And Susan, how is your organization seeking to ease the plight of the people there, as well as in neighboring Syria, if possible?
Yes, so we are here to support. The good news is that the Turkish Red Crescent is very strong. We are here to support their efforts to lend a hand and to help them provide the most urgent needs. Food, shelter, clean water is really important right now, medical care. The situation in Syria is even more challenging. The Syrian Arab Red Crescent is providing needs on the ground, and we have teams there ready to assist and ready to help whatever needs arise.
Susan, you spoke about shelter. I understand quite a number of people living in their cars in the absence of proper shelter. Is that still the case there?
It is. And, you have a quake like last night, and it continues to rattle people. We're working with the Turkish Red Crescent. Shelter is being provided in terms of tents, but the long-term solution will really have to, we've got to look forward and see what does long-term look like as we start to rebuild.
Right. Susan, I believe the Korean Red Cross, it's also working to address the humanitarian crisis there. Could you tell us a bit about its efforts?
Yes, my Korean colleagues were just here. We actually shared a tent. We were sleeping outside in tents, and we are working together to support the Turkish Red Crescent here. So we are lending resources, time, expertise, and really standing shoulder to shoulder with the Turkish Red Crescent to help address the most urgent needs.
Susan, there's talk about the need to deal with the psychological repercussions of the tragedy for the survivors. What is your organization doing with regard to that particular task?
Thanks for asking. Yesterday, I mentioned that I was out and surveying the damage. I also caught up with some of our healthcare providers. We have mobile health teams that are going out into communities that are affected, small communities, large communities. And part of that response is the psychosocial support. So we are providing mental health services. People have, I saw yesterday, broken bones, injuries, but they also have the unseen injuries that really are going to require a lot of care going forward. They've seen trauma, and this is really massive for them to try and cope and try and build to the next stages.
Right, and staying with that, perhaps we could end this talk with a few words from you about the most sustainable long-term support framework for Türkiye.
Oh, thank you for asking, Sunny. And that's really the big question, right? How do we move forward? How do we help people in the immediate, and how do we help them rebuild going forward? The number one way is to donate to the Korean Red Cross and to donate to the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies. That really puts funds in the hands of those who need it most, and we can address the needs as they change and as they grow into the future.
Right, of course. All right, Susan, thank you so much for making the time to join us live with the current situation there in Turkey. Best of luck. Our prayers are with you, and take care of yourself as well.
Thank you, Sunny.
Right, and now back here in the studio for more on Korea's efforts to promote the relief campaign over in Turkey. I have Kwon Soa with me. Soa, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Sunny.
I also have Alpago Shinasi with us. Alpago, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much, Sunny.
Now, Alpago, you are from Turkey as well. Are your family members and your friends safe?
Yeah, fortunately, my family living near Armenia border. Armenia border is the north side of Turkey. That's my family, my friends is saved. But my aunt lived there with her two daughters. And then, unfortunately, during the earthquake, my aunt was in Istanbul. And then when she got the earthquake news, she suddenly tried to calling her daughters, and then her daughter didn't get answers, and then she suddenly became mad and then crazy. And after 10 minutes or 15 minutes, she made connection with her doctors. Her doctors was safe, but little bit get
they were hurt.
Yes, because the windows is just crushed, and then. Anyway, during 2 days, my cousins tried to escape from Gaziantep because, okay, they are alive, but city is like just died. There is no shops, there is no like hotels or anything for. That's why during that 2 days, they just slept in cars. And after 2 days, she escaped from Gaziantep, arrived at Ankara, and then went to Istanbul. Then they meet. Now they cannot go Gaziantep because there is no life.
Right, as Suzanne mentioned, because that is where she is situated in Gaziantep.
That's why now my aunt and then two cousins try to get new house in Istanbul, another city.
I see, and this is the story for probably many of the people there, the survivors, of course.
That's why in Istanbul, in Ankara, or near cities, safe near cities, housing prices go up.
I see. This is yet another challenge for the government then. So Korea's first contingent of relief workers landed in Turkey, I believe, some 48 hours right after the earthquake there. There was a bit of media talk here in the country about the size of that single contingent. Could you tell us a bit more?
Right, Sunny. On February 7th, the day after the devastating earthquake or earthquakes occurred, South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol ordered the government to swiftly dispatch rescue workers and medical supplies to Türkiye, upon which the first round of an 118-membered Korea disaster relief team, also in short referred to as KDRT, got on a military transport plane and arrived at Gaziantep airport on February 8th. That would be Wednesday, and they were also accompanied by 4 rescue dogs. Now, this was the largest ever rescue team Korea sent abroad for a single dispatch of a relief mission. The rescue workers included mainly firefighters and soldiers, along with personnel from the Foreign Ministry and KOICA, the Korea International Cooperation Agency. The team was was able to rescue 8 survivors during their operations and found 19 bodies. They returned to Korea on Saturday. The first batch of the KDRT were set to undergo medical examinations as well as a post-traumatic stress disorder test before returning to work. Now, Turkish ambassador to South Korea, Salih Murat Tamer, greeted the team upon arrival and said the people of Turkey will never forget the help that South Korea has offered.
Right. Also, Alpago, before that particular departure, President Yoon Suk-yeol took to Twitter to relay, of course, his heartfelt condolences, and he also pledged that Korea would stand by Turkey as the two countries share ties that were forged in blood. Could you very briefly walk us through the history of ties between the two countries?
Actually, historical ties is more than deep than President tweets. He mentioned the Korean War, but actually Korean peoples and Turkish peoples make good relationships more than 1,000 years ago, during the Goguryeo and then Shilla dynasty. Goguryeo also, as a Korean historical state. Anyway, Goguryeo and then Turkish ancestor like Tolgol. This is Korean pronunciation, but in Turkish pronunciation is Göktürk. They make big alliance, military alliance, and then they fight against the Tang dynasty of China. But this is just historical things. There is no big meaning of that point. Actually, contemporary relationships starts with Korean Wars. Turkish government, which is the second state who sent soldiers to Korean War, and then during the Korean Wars, more than 15,000 soldiers came to here, and then more than 1,000 people killed at Korean Wars, and then until 1972, Turkish troops settled in Korea, and then they has also make good how can I say, the schools and then kindergartens for orphans. That's why in Turkey, also in Korea, they believed these two countries
blood brothers.
Blood brothers.
That's the phrase that we use,
yes.
Right? So let's now turn to relief aid for Turkey from corporate Korea, as well as celebrities in the country, and also from members of the parliament, right? Could you tell us a bit about that?
Sure. So people from all walks of life are helping in various ways. In many cases, it's donations in the form of cash, but also relief items. So let's start with Korean companies' efforts. The country's representative conglomerates offered support worth millions of dollars. For instance, Samsung Electronics donated $3 million. That includes $1.5 million in a relief fund and another $1.5 million worth of equipment and gadgets. That's, for instance, portable ultrasonic diagnosis devices, tablet PCs. You might be asking why they would need those, but it's for children's education, also home appliance repair vehicles and more. And then Hyundai Motor Group donated $1.8 million to Türkiye and $200,000 to Syria. Turkish unit of Hyundai Motor Company also donated 500,000 euros worth of relief items. Then we've also got SK Group, LG Group with $1 million donations each through the Community Chest of Korea, or 사랑의 열매, and the Korean Red Cross, respectively. Money donations were also made by POSCO Group, Lotte Group, Amore Pacific Group, that is, and retailer Eland Group, and online fashion platform Musinsa made donations in the form of clothing articles, especially winter clothes. Mobile messenger Kakao and the Korean Community Committee, that is, for UNICEF, and the Community Chest of Korea jointly organized a fundraising campaign through which it aims to raise 10 billion won, or roughly $7.7 million. And speaking of fundraising, Kim Young-kyung, South Korea's volleyball star, she used to play in a Turkish team, and she appealed for aid through her social media and was able to raise nearly nearly $400,000. This was as of last Wednesday. And many celebrities have made donations from idol group members to entertainers, entertainment agencies, and sports stars as well. And at Parliament, lawmakers, meanwhile, agreed to donate 3% of their salaries from the month of February to help the earthquake victims. The National Assembly also adopted a resolution in support of recovery efforts in Turkey as well as Syria. And this was passed 228 out of 229 members of Parliament who voted in favor of the measure, so almost everyone.
Right, and staying with such assistance, Alpago, ordinary Koreans have also been partaking in efforts to ease the plight of the people in Türkiye. On community notice boards at my apartment complex, we have posters highlighting the ties between the two countries, as well as information about ways to help people in Türkiye. What are your thoughts on these efforts?
Actually, I was shocked because, 20 years ago, there is also a big earthquake in Turkey, Istanbul earthquake, in 1999. During that earthquake, Koreans community or Korean government that doesn't respond like that. Maybe because of Asian economic crisis, because Korean peoples also have big problems. During that earthquake, Korean government just sent $50,000, something like that. But the while ago, so also mentioned, introduced so many aid campaigns. I was really shocked. Korean people, Korean and Turkish relationships very developed than yesterday. Is really, how can I say it, rapidly developed, and then Korean people's very sensitive to Turkey and Turkish peoples and Turkish problems. That's why I little bit like, how can I say that?
You were pleasantly surprised.
Yes, pleasant, and then thanks, and then how can I say, a little bit emotional days.
It's
to
a
me.
poignant feeling.
Yes.
It's a sense of strong compassion from people here, of course. So a local newspaper here shared the story of an elderly Korean man who pledged to aid Turkey, given his memories of the country's soldiers when he was young. Could you tell us a bit about his story?
Right, this is a very touching and emotional story, a very heartwarming story of a man in his late 70s called Oh Soo-up, who donated 10 million won, or a little under $8,000 to earthquake-hit Türkiye. He said when he heard about the quake, he realized it was time for us to help Türkiye. So Oh is the chairperson of the Ankara Brothers Association, and he said, quote, "I only hope that I can give back at least a little bit of what I received from the Turkish soldiers." Now, Oh was orphaned at the age of 6 back in the days of war, but thanks to Turkish soldiers who have been dispatched to Korea, he was able to eat and drink and even get educated at what became his new home, the Ankara School. Now, this school, which was founded in Suwon, Gyeonggi-do Province in June 1951 by Turkish soldiers, was more than a school. It was an orphanage where children separated from their families were brought up, and records show that the school set up by the soldiers raised some 400 to 700 children until its closure in 1979. And Oh recalled how the Turkish soldiers provided the kids with accommodation and food, usually on weekends when they didn't have to go out into the field. And he received middle school, high school education, and this school was home for him until he was 18, and then he was also able to get a job. Now, the Ankara School got him, quote, all set to go out into the world. And many other people who have ties to the help they received from Türkiye and the Korean public in general feel that now has come the opportunity for them to give back for what they received from Türkiye or Turkish soldiers during the Korean War. Now, this illustration that you're looking at right now is also picturing those emotions. Cartoonist Myung Min-ho's pictures here depict how a Turkish soldier is caring for a Korean War orphan, next to which we have another Korean a picture that shows a Korean rescue worker caring for a Turkish child. So that really shows the same emotions as we have mentioned from the old man that had these experiences when he was a child.
Really, such remarkable stories of compassion. Moving forward, Alpagog, the recent devastation in Turkey, it's also shed light on the country's construction regulations, with many pundits claiming that the devastation could have been reduced. Would you like to take this opportunity to explain?
Actually, the 1999 Istanbul earthquake is also a big problem. More than 20,000 people killed, and after that earthquake, people get shocked, and then they thought, okay, we have to make very strongful laws, and then they just benchmark the Japanese laws, and now Japanese construction laws and Turkish construction law are almost same, because you know Japan also have same problems, but problem is not law. Problem is education and then morality. There's a law, but no, anybody doesn't care that laws. This is the first problem. The second problem is politicians. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, President Erdogan, during the election campaign, he made a pardon law, and then he passed that law. Is included like that in Kahramanmaraş or around that city. Now is earthquake zone. More than 150,000 illegal buildings just get legal status. Actually, government have to change that buildings or destroy because of the safety, but Erdogan just pardoned that buildings. So problem is not law, problem is morality, and the problem is education.
And probably the implication
yes,
of
if
proper implication of
scientists
laws.
say that buildings is not safe building, people have to destroy that buildings and then rebuild. But people doesn't do that.
Right, but hopefully there'll be a change right after this tragedy. So very briefly speaking, Korea's relief personnel in Turkey not only work to save lives, of course, they also try to make an effort to use words to comfort the survivors. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, Time Turk dedicated a story on how South Korea's rescue team decorated their tents with messages of solidarity. Let me read you out some of the messages, of which some were written in Turkish, others in Korean and English. Be strong, Türkiye. We pray for Türkiye's rapid recovery. Brother country, Türkiye. And also, we saw how in Korean media, the Turkish people wrote thank you messages on the tents again that were provided by the South Korean emergency rescue team. And one message even said 고마워 형 in Korean, which means thank you, brother, again reflecting the special bond between the two countries. And speaking of tents, actually Korea recently also sent more than 1,000 tents to Turkey, and blankets, more than 3,000 blankets and 2,200 sleeping bags. That was while the second relief team also arrived at Adana airport in southern Turkey on Friday. Just wanted to mention that they just replaced the first batch that I earlier mentioned that returned on Saturday. And this second team is comprised of 21 members, including 10 medical workers, 5 officials from KOIKA, and also officials from the foreign ministry. And the focus now has shifted from rescue to restoration activities, as has been requested by the Turkish government, according to South Korea's foreign minister.
Right, of course, as authorities seek to rebuild Turkey itself as a country following this tragedy. All right, so as always, thank you very much for your time and your thoughts. And Alpago, it was a pleasure having you here with insights on Turkey.
As a Korean from Turkey, I'm really thank you to Korean people that those kind of response. But please, don't forget Syrian peoples also.
Right, of course, our help out to the Syrian people and our prayers to them as well. Thank you so much, Alpago, for being with us. Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of Issues and Insiders. Thank you for watching. We'll see you back here same time tomorrow.